Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good. Because after all, that's what we want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today on the show, we'll be visiting with entrepreneur Hector Laurel of Terminal Ave Media. I had the opportunity to meet Hector recently as he was filming a video podcast on which I was a guest. And after he finished editing the show, he sent me some clips. I was impressed with his work, and I decided I wanted to learn more about him and his business. You see, I have a lot of respect for entrepreneurs because it's such a high-risk way of living. I know that because I've been an entrepreneur all my life. It requires a lot of vision, determination, and personal growth to build a business. It requires this thing called grit. And psychologist Angela Duckworth defines grit as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. It's the quality that keeps entrepreneurs going when the going gets tough. You see, starting a business is a journey filled with challenges and obstacles, and many of them, I might add. But entrepreneurs with grit are able to push through and keep moving forward. One of the key aspects of grit is the ability to maintain focus on the long-term goal. And entrepreneurs starting a business often face setbacks and failures along the way. But those with grit are able to stay focused on their ultimate vision. They understand that success is not an overnight achievement, but rather a process of hard work and dedication over a sustained period of time. Another important component of grit is this thing called resilience. Entrepreneurs starting a business, they have to be able to bounce back from setbacks and failures. And this can be difficult as failures can be discouraging and they can lead to self-doubt. However, entrepreneurs with grit understand that failure, that's simply a part of the journey. It's part of the equation, and that it's actually necessary. It's a necessary step towards success. They use failure as opportunities to learn and grow, and they keep moving forward in the face of adversity. As a result of moving forward, so many business challenges, there's frequently an element of transformation that entrepreneurs go through. That's what's exciting to me. They find out what they're capable of in their pursuit of their dreams. And I, for one, enjoy hearing those stories. So stick around for that conversation. And who knows, maybe you have a business that is in need of some help from Hector and his team at Terminal Media Ave. Maybe you're going to discover that they'd be a good fit for you. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And you can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com, where I've got all sorts of free resources there. You don't have to figure it out all on your own. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we'll begin our visit with Hector Laurel. So stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad that you are in this conversation with us. Today on the show, we've got Mr. Hector Laurel. How you doing, Hector?
Pretty good, how are you?
Right on, I'm doing well. And you are from Terminal Ave Media.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to find out what Terminal Ave Media does and how you got into it. But first, it's a tradition on our show. We got to talk about the wins. What's going well in life? So lay it on me. What are a couple of wins?
The most recent one I would say is getting my own office. Like, it's not a huge office, but just getting out of the house, because I was just editing in my room for like the past couple months. So just being able to leave to work, you know, is probably like the biggest thing as of like the past couple weeks.
Yeah, great. So you've got, you've been doing it out of your house, but now you've got the office and you got room to spread out, and now you've got a separation between work and home, right?
Yep,
That feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool though, the line of work you're in, because you can do it from anywhere. I mean, as long as you've got your machines.
Yeah, camera and a laptop. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good. Well, hey, tell us, I want to find out more about the business, but first I'm really curious about, and I want to hear about, how did you get into this? And how old were you when you got into
Yeah,
it?
so it all started when I was, I think, 10 or 11. So I started skateboarding around that time. It was summer of 5th grade going into 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And with skateboarding, the biggest thing is filming. Like if you're gonna do a trick, you have to film it, or else it doesn't count, you know? Or like that's all you get, other than the feeling of landing the trick, you get the clip, and that's like what lasts forever.
Yeah.
So I started skateboarding when I was, 11, and since the very beginning, I always felt the need to record or take pictures. So I have a lot of skate videos on YouTube from when I was like 11 to 17.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of how I got into it. And I've always just been, I think, intrigued like by cameras, because that's really when I got into it. Before that, I was into like WWE, like the wrestling.
Yeah.
So with my mom's camera, I would do stop motion of the action figures. Like I would put the action figures fighting. So I would do like that, take a picture, do like the next frame, take a picture.
Yeah.
So I was like, since I was a little kid in elementary, into cameras. But the filming was through skateboarding.
Right on. And then you had some idea or that I want to take this beyond skateboarding.
Yeah.
And then, so tell me a little bit about that.
So I actually remember like the night when I thought of that. I was like in my bed. It was like a mind blowing, like I don't know. It was weird, but I was laying down. I had already graduated high school, so I had made a whole bunch of skate videos, but I didn't know I was into making videos. I was just doing them for fun.
Yeah.
And then went to college for the fall quarter after graduating, and I wasn't really even trying. And I remember one night just kind of laying down, and then I was like, wait, what am I really into? And then I remember thinking, oh, I'm into making videos. So then from there, I kind of just saved up some money and then bought a camera to just record anything. I wasn't even sure what I was trying to do. I was just recording everything. I was recording myself driving. I was recording my friends' cars, like anything, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I realized I wanted to pursue it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was like around there.
That's pretty cool. I like the imagery of you just like filming everything, whatever. Like there's this passion to film.
Yeah.
And you begin to ask yourself a question of like, what do I want to do? What am I interested in?
Yeah.
And this thing like, oh yeah, I love to film.
And it's crazy because I remember that night, like I was just laying in my bed and it just hit me all in one. I was like, wait, what am I into? I like editing. I was doing that for like 7 years, just through skateboarding, and that's just kind of how it started.
Yeah. And did anybody, friends or family ever like Hector, why are you spending so much time editing all those skateboard things?
Yeah, no, so actually my mom, I say, is like the biggest supporter.
Nice.
Because she's the one that like got me cameras from when I was skateboarding.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and it kind of worked out because she always had a camera, and that's how, she had like a really old camera.
Yeah.
From the 90s that she would use, and I found it when I started skateboarding like 15 years later, and I would record with that, and it was like VHS. And this is already like pretty recent, like digital's all a thing and everything. So I started recording, and then she kind of always saw that I was into that and always supported it. And I remember after that, she got me my actual first like little digital camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, used that maybe like 2 to 3 years. There was like a nice camera I really wanted, and she couldn't even afford to get me a camera, but she was like, oh, I'll put it on my credit card. And it was like a $500 camera, and that was like what started everything, from like actually trying, from not just recording little clips to learning about cameras, lenses, and things like that.
Yeah.
So they were always supportive, like both of my parents.
Well, they must be very proud of you now, right?
Yeah.
Because now you've gone on and you're like, you got a whole portfolio under your belt and quality stuff, and you've got quality equipment that I saw, when you shot the podcast that I was on. I mean, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Terminal Ave Media. So it's you. It looks like it's somewhat of a family affair with some brothers in there. So
my cousins are also into making videos, and we kind of grew up. I was doing like all the skateboarding videos, and they were doing like their own little short films, skits and all that.
Yeah.
So we kind of both started they have like their own video production company, and I have mine. So we kind of help each other out if we need help like on bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, this beer commercial we just did, it was a pretty big project, and I was like, oh, I need this guy's on board, so it's a whole crew, So we have like 2 cameras, we have someone overseeing, directing everything. We have another one which is like, it's two twins and then it's their older brother. So the two twins are the ones that make the videos, and then their older brother is just like really into just anything creative. And so he was like overseeing everything too, and he was like an actor in one of the commercials. So it's like not necessarily a family business, because it's mostly me that pretty much does everything, because they have their own, you know. But we do help each other out. You know, I'll help them on their projects, and they'll help me on my projects. It just works out.
So there's some collaboration between you all.
And we work well together. You know, we grew up together.
Okay.
So it works out perfectly.
That's great. And they live locally then?
Yeah, in Wenatchee too.
Oh.
They're working on like 2 big documentaries right now. They're like personal documentaries, and that's like what they're pursuing. But they got like some good stuff coming up.
Right on, right on. And how about you? What I was looking at your portfolio there, and I think I have it here. Oh no, I don't have it here. Oh, there it is. No, never mind. I'll find it during the commercial break, because I like the tagline you have on your website there. I thought that was pretty cool. But what have you got coming up? What's next for you? You got any projects that are coming up for you?
Yeah. So right now it's a little bit of everything. You know, like the podcast stuff, personal branding for people, and then commercial stuff. I have like that mariachi festival, so we're doing like a whole recap of that event. Yeah,
so share with the audience, the mariachi festival just happened last week.
Yeah.
And you were there for, I think you said 4 days, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so how did that go?
So it went good. Me and Kim, she's the one that helped me film it. And we pretty much, you know, got hired to come on board and make a recap video of the whole event, and then capture the workshops, capture the concerts, do pictures. So it was pretty cool, because we were just kind of hanging out at the college with the students, and it was also so real. They were all just learning from instructors. We were just there documenting everything. So then they can use that, you know, later on to show other people, like, look, this is the mariachi festival. This is what we do. We show students. We do workshops. We, you know, talk to the students too, and they were excited to say, oh, I love getting, you know, out of the classroom and learning from professionals, you know, and representing my culture and this and that. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, right on. Good. If you want to see some of his work, I recommend you go to his website. What's the website?
Terminalab.com.
Terminalab.com. He's got some examples of a number of the commercials you guys have shot.
Yeah.
We were talking before we started filming this morning. One of the commercials that I loved that you did was for the skateboard shop, and there was all these cool sounds. The sounds just added this layer of richness to it, and it kind of made you want to get on the board, man. Just like, right?
Just go ride.
But what was interesting to me is that you said some of those sounds were effects that were added post-production.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me, because I never think of like the post-production, like you're adding in elements to really enhance the project, like after it's been shot.
Yeah.
Right? And those sounds were like so precise, you know, they were just like, they stood out, and they were just like so precise with the movements. Anyways, that really caught my eye.
No, that was fun to work on.
Hey, it's time to take a break. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but then we're going to get back. Stay with us, learn more about Hector and what he's up to, because he might be a good fit for your next project. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here, so glad you're in the conversation. Today we're talking with Hector Laurel, and we're talking about film, we're talking about videography. What do you love about what you do?
I think there's like 2 things. It's the adventure of, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know, like the last commercial we did, we got to go snowboarding, hiking, and biking.
Nice.
And I was just riding down on a snowboard while I was like falling, you know. But I was like riding down thinking like, whoa, this is my job. On the mountain, you know, at Mission Ridge, just riding my snowboard while I was like carrying my camera, you know.
Right.
But just the adventure of that, and then also when you think of an idea, because I kind of picture the whole commercial or video project in my head, and then just actually making it something visual to people, for people to see, I think is the most, like.
Yeah. So the adventure, right?
Yeah.
Because you, like you said, you never know what's going to happen.
No.
Like this is like, it's like live theater or something, man. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
You got an idea of what you're supposed to do and say, but anything can happen at any moment. So there's a lot of variety in that.
Yeah.
And then creating this thing out of nothing.
Yeah, out of an idea, just someone's idea.
Yeah, yeah, and you bring life to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty satisfying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. One of my good buddies years ago started doing YouTube videos for REI when YouTube just first was coming on, and he worked for REI, and he started just doing these videos demonstrating their equipment, and then he became like their lead photographer. And
Yeah.
so he kind of said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I was like, we're cruising around in helicopters, jumping out of these helicopters, and I'm just, they're filming everything.
Yeah.
So he says it's a lot of
They're all
fun.
adventures.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them, yeah.
So what are some challenges? What are some challenges with this that go along with this line of work?
I would say getting your name out there is probably the biggest challenge.
Hector Laurel, getting your name out there.
Yeah, getting your name out there and getting people to trust in your work. You know, if they haven't seen what you're capable of,
Yeah.
that's pretty hard too, because if you're trying to work on a project that necessarily you know you can do, but you don't have like something to show for it,
Yep.
maybe the other person, like the client or somebody else, doesn't really see what you're like thinking of already, you know?
Yeah. Well, you certainly are getting a full portfolio together.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the plan for this whole year. Just work on the portfolio.
yeah. And clearly people are hiring you and finding value, which is super cool. And I've looked at your work, and yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. Is most of that all local?
A lot of it is local. I would say probably all of it is local.
Yeah, and what's great about what you're doing is this is one of the most effective ways for people to advertise, right? I mean, if you've got a business, you're going to need a video.
Yeah.
Right, at some point.
It worked
or
out.
Many videos.
It worked out because I was into video before video was a thing for companies, and then I grew up, and out of nowhere, every company needs videos.
That's right.
Perfect timing.
That's right. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and find out more, what's the best way to do that?
The best would be to visit the website, terminalapp.com, because on there you can see our portfolio, you can see about us and a way to contact. And then social media works too, like Facebook, Instagram, it's just Terminal App Media. So I think those two would be the best.
And helps our businesses understand what it might look like to work with you. Like they call you up, what's the next step? Is there a complimentary meeting where you kind of have a meeting of the minds and they kind of share the vision? Or tell me a bit about that.
It would be a meeting if they can't meet in person, like a Zoom call, and then from there I kind of see what they need, and every proposal is kind of custom because every company needs like a specific package.
Yeah.
So then I would put a package together of what they need, and then from there it's either like just going back and forth and changing the little things until the package is catered to that business. And then from there we just schedule some dates and start shooting.
Good, good. And it might, I imagine the time frame, depending on what the scope of the project is, will vary quite a bit.
Yeah, it could be tomorrow or it could be 3 months from now, depending on the project. They're all so different.
Yeah, and inside, outside, or both, does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
You can do both. You can do it all.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
Nope.
No. I always wonder about just the sound outside. Like that's got to be a challenge, right? Controlling sound.
Depending on the project. For example, like if we do a commercial outside where like the snowboarding shots, those are all added sounds that I add post production.
Okay.
If it's an interview, it is a little more tricky because you're just doing the audio. Like this would be a little more tricky outside for sure.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, commercials, it's mostly all post production work, adding sounds.
And is that an element of your job that you enjoy, like the post-production, or which do you favor, like the actual filming of it or the post-production?
I think they go hand in hand. I would say I like filming because I may be, like hiking or on a mountain or riding my skateboard, for that skateboarding one, riding my skateboard. And then if I have like the video already created in my head, I'm just putting it together on the editor and seeing it start to finish. I would say it's even, They both have like their own perks to it.
Yeah. Both have their own pros and cons. Right on. So who's your target audience? Like who? Like if your ideal client is who?
I would say maybe like adventure companies, just because you never know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing, grew up skateboarding, so a lot of skateboarding stuff, sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we don't have a specific target audience right now. It's still working on the portfolio, figuring out what we're best at.
Yeah.
So I think just really doing it all right now. Anything video production related, interviews, podcasts, commercials, brand films.
Yeah.
Is all, anything with video is kind of who we're targeting right now.
Because I noticed on your portfolio, there's you're working with a number of, I don't know if they're not wineries, but like companies that manufacture beer or wine or ciders or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are more towards the adventure, because normally with for example, a lighter beer, the adventure of that is, hiking, snowboarding, things like that. So it's like a beer commercial, but we're showing what comes through that experience, not just sitting down drinking beer. It's, riding your skateboard, going hiking, things like that. Energy drinks, just gets you up and going.
Right
So
on.
we're trying to show what that product, the story of that product, not the product itself, if that kind of makes sense.
Yep, it sure does. And for some of the people that are listening, they may be like wondering, like, I can't remember if I asked this, but is there a cost for the sit down to?
Oh, no.
Okay,
no,
that's
I'll even drive,
complimentary.
Chelan, Leavenworth, and just get to know somebody.
Yeah. So nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
So get in touch with this guy if you got a video project or it's time to promote your business at a higher level. And really, there's such an advantage to having video because, number one, it can live forever.
Yep.
Right? You can reuse this marketing over and over in every email you send out, on YouTube. I mean, it's just such a versatile piece of marketing.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. And you can also, what I love about what you did on our podcast is you sent those little clips.
Yeah.
And those are like kind of teasers, right? And those are things that you can build into a project for a company too, so they can drip out these teasers, so to speak, on social media.
Yep, and then they have content for 2-3 months from one project.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's what's so neat when you consider what the investment in this type of project is. It's not just the final thing; it's how you're going to be able to use it for months to come.
Yep.
Which is really a smart way of looking at it, right? All right, so let's see. I want to, did you already give the website and your,
Yeah.
Okay, good. And, well, perfect, because we're just about out of time.
Yeah, I was looking at
Okay,
that.
oh, I misread that. All right, so I'm going to wrap up. Hector, thanks so much for being on the
Thank
show. For you guys at home, it's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.